So you want to make a CNM Online level. Well, first to start, you gotta do a CNMB file and make a CNMS file. CNMB files are used to save the level layout, so like blocks, to save the level lighting, and to save the level backgrounds. CNMS files, on the other hand, are used just to save spawner data and ending text. Spawner data is basically where enemies and triggers spawn, so for instance, a player spawn would be spawner data, or something like a flying slime, that would also be a spawner data. And ending text, that's usually used for things like the title screen of the level and some other miscellaneous things. Make sure that when you're in your ending text editor or in your background editor that you load your either CNMB or CNMS file before you start. It's because it's really easy to forget that, because in those editors it doesn't show you the other parts of the file, so you really just got to make sure you don't mess that part up. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is you have to go to options, and you got to actually make it so that you can use the editors. So you have to go down to level edit sheet and turn it on. From there, the first thing you gotta do is you gotta go down to the block properties editor, because that is the first thing you need to do, well, to make a level. So you will be there in a second. Okay, so as you can see here, I'm actually in the block properties editor. So the first thing you want to do is you want to go down to block property edit 1 and hit enter. And then from there you want to go all the way down to select bitmap, and from there you could just hit left and right in the find bitmap editor and hit enter. So after that, there's a few more things to go over, like transparency. Transparency can go from 0, which is fully opaque, and 7, which is fully transparent, but for this block I'm just going to leave it at 0 because it's a brick. So I'm going to quickly go back here and make a new block. So while I'm looking for a new block here, I'm going to tell you how to make background blocks, so blocks that you can't actually hit. So you just uncheck solid here, and now you can't walk through it pretty much. So the next block we're going to make together is water. So with water, you kind of wanted to have an animated kind of feel, and you want it to be transparent, so I'm going to do those two things here. I'm just going to go up and change the transparency to a good middle value. 4 is a good one. And for blocks like water, we need to have an animation. So first thing you would do is you would change the number of frames of the animation. This will just make it so you can have more frames in the animation. For this water animation, for example, it has 8 frames. And then animation speed is how many frames the animation lasts on a certain frame. How many frames it lasts on a certain frame. So I'm going to speed up the rest of this process of me editing the X and Y values for the block, and yeah. So it might be a little bit blurry, but the water animation is actually way too fast. So that's why I'm going to bump up the animation speed so that it takes longer in between every frame of the animation. So a neat quirk about the damage type is that there's a lava damage type. Now, you can have damage set to 0, which means the block won't do any damage to you. So when you have it set to the lava damage type and you have it do no damage, it essentially acts like water. So with these spikes, since I don't want them to actually act like water so you can't swim in them, I'm going to set the damage type to spikes so that it just damages you. So now I'm going to show you how to make stairs. To make stairs, you want to go to the collision data type and change it from hitbox to height map. Height map will let you actually change, basically make a more detailed collision box for the texture or tile that you're doing. So as you can see in the height map editor, you just press left and right to go between each column of pixels and up and down to change the column of pixels height. You can only do the height from the bottom, and you can only make it grow up. You can't make like overhangs or anything like that. And pretty much you just go pixel by pixel through the height map, and I'll speed this part up. So as you can see, I've already made the height map now, and I'm going to go on to the next thing about collision, and I'm going to show you how to do smaller collisions, like with a smaller block. So I'm going to go here, and I'm just going to find a bitmap of a smaller block, like this one over here. And you leave the collision type to hitbox if you want it to be just like a block, and you just simply change the X and Y and width and height of the hitbox to fit your image, pretty much. And that's the end of part 1 of this tutorial. So today we've learned how to make block properties, which is the first step to making a level. After this, we can start actually placing, making the level geometry and making the actual level. So here we're going to just save it as whatever you want the file name of the level to be. So I'm going to name it, actually I'm going to name it tutorial level, but you just want to make sure you have a .cnmd extension at the end, because that is very important, because this is a part of the blocks file.